Distinguished Professor Lidia Morawska says it's not difficult to understand why her work matters.
Each of us inhales air 12 times a minute. And if we didn't have access to the air, if we wouldn't be able to breathe, in a few minutes we wouldn't be alive. So there's nothing more critical for us as humans as air.
Professor Morawska is director of the International Laboratory for Air Quality and Health at QUT in Brisbane. The air in Australia may seem relatively clean, but the black summer bushfires of 2019 showed how quickly things can change.
We used to see people wearing masks in polluted countries, in particular of Asia, and this was exotic. At the end of that year, we saw masks in the cities of Brisbane and masks in Sydney.
But even on days that look clear, the air around many urban and industrial areas is full of pollutants from things such as urban traffic, power plants, and industrial activities.
Some of these emissions are not visible, yet they are very significant in terms, for example, of ultrafine particles.
While doing her postdoc in Toronto, Professor Morawska realized that very little was known about these particles.
There were no papers, there was no literature on this, because there were no instruments to measure them.
Overcoming that knowledge gap has been a major focus of her lab at QUT. Their fundamental work led to the World Health Organization including ultrafine particles for the first time in its air quality guidelines in 2021. Acceptable levels of almost all pollutants were slashed for the first time since 2005. But under the new guidelines, most of the world, including all of Australia's major cities, at times experience levels of air pollution considered too high. Professor Morawska says the solution is to reduce fossil fuel emissions. And it's not the only time she's influenced the course of action of the WHO. Amid the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Professor Morawska marshalled more than 200 scientists worldwide to argue the virus was being spread through the air. Her team had carried out extensive research since earlier outbreaks of the SARS virus that showed small respiratory particles containing pathogens could remain suspended in the air for sufficiently long periods, allowing them to travel around indoor environments.
During COVID, finally, the realization came that we need to apply the knowledge.
The scientific evidence convinced the WHO to change its official advice about COVID transmission. Her impactful work saw Time magazine name Professor Morawska as one of 2021's 100 most influential people. She says the pandemic shows why we need a paradigm shift when it comes to combating airborne pathogens, with more focus placed on improving indoor ventilation systems.
The importance of indoor air quality is because we spend more than 90% of time indoors, inhaling indoor air.
Professor Morawska's pioneering and internationally recognized work has seen her awarded the Matthew Flinders Medal from the Australian Academy of Science.